Hello and welcome to another edition of the SportsHeads on Verge magazine. I am Andre Dixon, your host as per usual. I am joined by my band of friends as such. Daniel Falui and Sam Morgan. How are you guys?
Good.
I'm boiling outside. House is getting renovated, so right now it's sunny in the UK for once. So yeah, I'm struggling outside, but yeah, otherwise I'm good.
I see that dog agrees with you too about the heat. Well, as per usual, we're here to cover all of the current events in the NFL, NBA, and MLB, and all other American sports. So let's get to it with Zion Williams. So he's been on restricted minutes. Obviously, everyone's been waiting for him to be able to come back, and join the bubble. He's came back in explosive fashion. He literally has been put on, restricted minutes because of his health. And he's looking, a lot of pundits are saying he's looking quite shaky. They're worried for his health. So the question I've got for you guys, being, Daniel Falou is a big fan of his, is Zion Williams, too overweight to play in the NBA?
So I'll start off with this one. I think personally, yes, he looks a bit too overweight for the NBA. I think the stories when the bubble was going on was that he is in shape, the best shape of his life, and yet he's been put on sort of a 15-minute max minute restriction when he in the first two games with the Pelicans. So I think for me personally, I think with Zion, there's a lot of factors, but he's never really stayed fit at all in college and now in the pros, and I don't know if he can play an 82-game season, and that's the problem, and that's my worry. So I think Zion, he needs to lose the weight, even if it's just 30, 40 pounds. I think that's a big issue. I think that's a big thing because he's only 20, and if he's struggling with weight now, when he's 28, when he's in his 30s, what's going to happen then? And the torque, the lift off, the exposure on the knees. At 300 pounds, you're slamming on those knees a long time. So I think for me, he is overweight for the NBA, and I think that's a big issue for the Pelicans as well, because a healthy Zion, a focused Zion, means that they're a strong, contender for the West.
Sam, what's your thoughts on this?
I think it falls on the Pelicans' head a little bit. I think they knew what they were getting as well. I think if you look at Zion and his physique all the way growing up high school through to college and now NBA, he's relied on that, and that is his game. You can trim him down a piece, I suppose, to maybe watch the injuries, but you can't take him too far the other way where then suddenly his game has to change, and then you end up with people not talking about him being the best rookie in the league. I think there's that borderline of what you're doing. We see that in all sports. You go from sort of, I say, the youth level amateur into sort of the pro leagues. People do have to change slightly. You talk about some of the best athletes in the world, like Cristiano Ronaldo, for instance. When he first came along, quite spry, they relied on a bit more speed all the time, and then actually came into the Premier League, realised, oh my God, can't really do that, had to put on the pounds. Now, is it a case of he's got to have the people around him getting him in the right shape, or are they just leaving Zion to be Zion? But if you do, and you touched on Daniel, 15 minutes, you're not going to invest in that. So is he overweight? I want to say, I don't like to use the term overweight. I just don't think his physique is quite tuned in correctly to get the balance right of being able to play more than 15 minutes. To do it for, let's say 70 games throughout the season without an injury. But fingers crossed they get him right, because if it doesn't, and this is a short-lived career, it's a miss for fans and for the NBA.
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to obviously be looking at a professional athlete's weight and saying, okay, well, is he overweight effectively? But what you do worry about is that obviously with the style of play, when he's dunking and stuff like that, you do get worried when he's actually landing hard on his knees or his ankles, and obviously there's problems with those. And then also because the Pelicans actually putting him in sometimes a bit longer because they need to win the game. That it seems to be at his detriment. So I mean, I do hoping that they do figure out a way for them to be able to keep him, get him minutes, but without actually risking his long-term health, because obviously he's a player that we really want to see for many, many years to come. Let's get on to the NFL, the ongoing saga at the Packers. I'm trying to remain not biased on this one, but basically, to those who know, background story is that the Packers have actually went ahead and traded up to be able to draft Jordan Love in view to replacing Aaron Rodgers at some point. From Aaron Rodgers' perspective, technically he was only one game away from getting to the Super Bowl. So therefore, surely you'd actually give him more, players to be able to, better players to be able to play with, so you can actually achieve that goal. But what they've decided to do is look for the future rather than looking at the present. So Aaron Rodgers was on a podcast and stated that he wasn't pleased with it, but obviously he's accepted it, and he's accepted he's not going to retire a Packer. And since then, Matt LaFleur has actually come out and said that he wants Aaron Rodgers to be there for many years to come. Now, obviously, with that long-winded explanation, I'll start with you, Sam. Do you believe Matt LaFleur when he says that he wants Rodgers there for a long period of time?
No. In the short of it, like you said, we've had these conversations obviously about Aaron Rodgers. I think it continues because I think someone every now and then, every sort of 2 or 3 weeks, someone puts another piece of coal on the fire just to keep the story going. But you don't bring in a rookie, your first pick as a QB to base the future on a few years' time. I think you bring those in for a short period of time, and I think Aaron Rodgers, no question about his ability, but it seems to just you're not getting past the line with Rodgers at the moment. And I think, for me, he's lying a little bit. I think what they're probably trying to do, best case scenario, is bleed out as much of the experience into Love now before he goes, get him up to speed, watching how he plays, get him to learn, obviously, the offense as best possible way for him to might not be this season, but certainly the season after that. I don't see Aaron Rodgers being in a Packer shirt, and that's just on my opinion. And I'm sure some cheeseheads will be disappointed to hear something like that. But that's just the honest truth. I don't understand why you'd give up a first-round pick for something in years to come when there's going to be a crop of other QBs that might come through in the next sort of year or so.
Say so, Daniel.
I have to agree mostly with what Sam said. I have to agree mostly with the fact that, look, they moved up, and when people say, but it was the same thing with Rodgers and Favre, it wasn't. Rodgers fell to them at 24th. They moved up to get Love. Do I think Love is actually the answer long term? No. I think his last year in college, his interceptions went up, so I think that's a worrying sign. But I think long term as well, what the Packers needed, Rodgers is 36. If you believe that you can still win with him, give him the weapons, try and go all out, because you're not really getting that much. He's 36. He might go to 40, 41 like Brady and Breeze and potentially Roethlisberger, but he's not going to do at the Packers. So you might as well stick with trying to bench out the team. And you've got Devontae Adams, who's basically saying, look, we're surprised as well with the pick. And when the lineman came out and said that, so when the team's also shocked as well, you kind of know that as well. And like Sam said, they were one game away from the Super Bowl. About anything, they needed a receiver, they need some good tight ends, and they haven't really supplied Rodgers with great picks and great players. So I think for me, that's always been an issue. That's always been a problem there, and I think I think he's going to stay initially for the next 2 years, just because of the salary cap hit that Rodgers will take with a massive contract. But outside of that, after that, once he's not really a liability on the salary cap, they're gonna move on. So I think the next 2 years he's going to be in, and then after that, gone.
It's to me it's a shame if we see Aaron Rodgers move, because obviously he's so synonymous with those colours. I just think that it makes no sense to me that obviously when you look at it, all right, he's one game away, but they did get blown out in that one game. But to be honest with you, there's only so much he can actually do as a player, and I think him getting them to that spot, and also adjusting his game, because obviously usually free rolls, whatever he wants to do before, and then he's actually now sticking to actual game plan. Packers are becoming a bit more run heavy. So it just makes sense that, all right, give the guy another, weapon to be able to choose. And then, let's just see if they can actually compete with the 49ers and so forth. But it doesn't make any sense to me. I think that it will be wise for them to be able to kind of relook at things, settle things down, because you're putting a hell of a lot of pressure on this guy, Jordan Love. What do you feel like this is going to do to Jordan Love's career? Like, do you feel that this puts, unnecessary pressure? I'll start with Dan.
I think so. I think that's going to definitely put, pressure on Jordan Love, because, you basically gone from a Hall of Fame in Brett Favre to Hall of Fame in Aaron Rodgers to now having to make sure that Jordan Love's a Hall of Fame. You've moved up in the draft to get him as well. So if he's not a Hall of Fame, then yeah. If he doesn't win you a Super Bowl, then yes. I think there's more expectation on him than most of the rookie quarterbacks in his class, simply because, you moved up to replace a great, if not one of the greatest throwers of the ball. So I think it's unfair on Love as well. And also, by all indication, no one was going to take Love in the first round. So I personally think it was a wasted pick on the first round. But that's just me.
Sam?
I don't know. I think for him, I take it as an opportunity. I think it depends on, this is the sportsman's mentality now, to see actually whether he can come into this. What I am scared of is we've got another Josh Rosen on the cards, potentially. He's okay. Is he the answer? There's obviously question marks around it, and, no disrespect, but we've seen what's happened to Josh Rosen. What I would say is, if they are going to actually take a bit of time with him, and they obviously are forward thinking, you've got to remember, these scouting teams aren't thinking for the next 5 minutes. They're actually thinking long term. So if they're seeing that maybe Rodgers is going to come out at some point, they're looking at the cap space that they might get rid of with Rodgers to actually allow them to have space to give Love all the weapons. Now, you can toss the rock a little bit and you've got the weapons, then, you can make yourself look half decent. I mean, I hate bringing up someone like Trubisky, but Trubisky is not, he's not a top quarterback. But let's be honest, he hasn't actually got that many weapons. So that when you look looks up, what has he got really, like top weapons? Because if the Packers can put together a top package for him, then actually he might get something out of it. And I genuinely believe, I think the Packers are looking ahead now, and they're looking at potentially what they can do. When you think that Brady is now in the retirement home in Florida, you've got Breeze is probably going to look to do his thing. Maybe even the next couple of years, he's going to go for broke. Wilson, the same. We're seeing the elite slowly leave, going to come out of this league. Actually, the Packers might actually look at this and go, can we now dominate in the next few years to come? And that's what I generally think, that there's not a lot of pressure on him right now if they keep Rodgers for, like you said, Dan, maybe 2 years. But I don't think there's that pressure on him just yet.
Well, let's see. Let's hope it's not anytime soon. I want to see Aaron Rodgers many years to come. Finally get another Super Bowl ring with the Packers, but we'll see. Well, let's get into the NBA. Guys, just really quickly before we get into the game predictions, what do you guys feel? How do you guys feel that it's been going so far?
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. It's actually, I think they've done really well. The fact that I was actually saying this to someone when we were watching a few of the games is, unlike other sports that have had to put the maybe fake crowd noise in there, the players are actually still getting a bit of atmosphere. The rest of the roster on the side still obviously close to the game. They can hear them clearly. It's giving the fans a chance to obviously hear the coaches a little bit more. Obviously, you've got the DJs in the background anyway, so you don't lose that. And generally, I like the fact what they've done. I mean, this is Disney, guys. They were going to be able to put on a show, and how they've done that in the crowd. Seeing the crowd interact at real time as well, which I think is amazing. So I think they've done really well. It's funny because obviously they've put everyone in a bubble, and it seems to be the healthcare there within this bubble is amazing compared to the rest of the country, unfortunately. And I'm hoping actually the NBA might actually set a better precedent for the rest of the country to obviously hopefully get them back on track. But I've been really impressed, and obviously with the games coming thick and fast, obviously for us viewers in the UK as well, we've been able to probably see a lot more basketball than we would have.
What do you think, Dan?
So for me, I think it's been great. I think they've utilised some aspects that's worked well in normal football. With Korea, I think they were the first ones to like sort of put fake fans in the stands, and I think they've utilised that really well. It's nice to see, Chris Paul's son, looking on his dad when he's playing the game. So that was really nice touch. I think the atmosphere has been great. I think the setting's been great. The bubbles obviously worked for them. Yeah. They've been allowed to do it because of the size of the roster, which is great. And I think, like Sam said, you've got a little bit more ambience. You've got a little bit more of the sort of artificial noises as well. But that's just added to the atmosphere as well. And so I think it's been great. And I think one thing that I think a lot of people have been really impressed by, including myself, is the intensity of the games as well. So I think, the players have come in. They've been really intense. They've been really on it. And I think the lack of traveling for a lot of players, like Toronto, for example, has been really great on the players. So I think you now to start to see more playoff type basketball earlier on, and I think you start to see more intensity. And shout out to the Rockets who've been really good from the get go. So it's been a great start. So hopefully it continue.
So let's get to the predictions. Obviously, last week Sam had a full house with his predictions. Well done to Sam. The other guys not so much. My Celtics had an up and down time of Sam's your Raptors is doing quite well. I'll leave Dan to take his cup of water uncomfortably at the moment before he tries to redeem himself. So let's get to it. I'll start off with Sam at the moment because you're on the hot streak. Let's go to the Rockets Lakers. Sam, who you got?
I just don't think you can stop LeBron and AD right now. They are, as a pair, it's crazy. I think it's just quite scary, actually, how good it is. And obviously, that's without the rest of the team there. And the bench, I thought, was actually done quite well for the Lakers. And I think that's something that maybe they've not always had, is that strong, for me, the strong bench to bring these games through. But as you said, Rockets are obviously that informed team. So I think we've got one of many great games coming up in this week's schedule. But I don't think you can discount the King, to be honest. So for me, it is the Lakers this week.
So, Dan, are you going to contradict?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to, just because of what Houston's been able to do. I think, generally speaking, Westbrook and Harden usually sort of flag towards this time of the season in terms of before the playoffs. But I think with the rest, they've been really impressive. They did really well against the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think they're gonna win. I think the Lakers do give them problems matchup wise, but I think Harden and Westbrook are just got the extra rest and they're just reinvigorated for this season. So I think I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna actually go with Houston to beat the Lakers actually and beat them pretty well.
Well, I'm always going to cheer on one of my favourite players, LeBron James. Ever since he's been wearing a Liverpool shirt, I really, it makes you believe such an amazing athlete and always been a big fan of his. You won't find any evidence otherwise from that.
Yeah, rewind the plenty of sports.
Let's move on to the Bucks Raptors. Who you got? I'll go with Dan first.
So for me, Bucks Raptors, I'm going to go with the Bucks. I still think they're the best team in the East. I think it was a blip with Houston, although Houston played well. I think Giannis is the MVP, or has been the MVP for the regular season in my personal opinion. So I'm going to go with the Bucks. I don't like to bet against them when it comes to teams in the East, and I think they've only lost 13 games in the season, I think. So I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Okay, and Sam, who you got?
I don't know. Anyone notice the air horn he got when he said the Bucks?
I know someone agrees with him.
Disappointed by that. Do you know what? In all honesty, I'm never going to not go against the Raptors. So you can put my pick down as the Raptors. But
another homer pick.
It's got to be a homer pick. But I did that last week, and look at how well the Raptors did, unlike the Celtics. But the Bucks are strong, and the Greek freak does worry me quite a lot, and it would be interesting to see how we match up with that. Defensively, Raptors have obviously been always quite strong, but yeah, listen, Raptors for my pick, but I won't be hugely disappointed if we come away with the L on this one because the Bucks are a great side, and I imagine they'll be be good representation from the East this year.
Right, so let's go with the Grizzlies versus Portland Trailblazers. Trailblazers have been doing really well, actually. A bit of a surprise package. Sam, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Trailblazers on this one. Like you say, they have been a bit of a surprise package. I think they've adapted quite well to the situation in the bubble as well. I think they're rising to that. Nothing against the Grizzlies. I think this will probably be a close game. And I think Daniel, props to him last week. I'm not sure what game it was, but he said it would be by the point. I think it was the Lakers nicked it by basket. And I think this will be the same thing. Wouldn't even surprise me if it goes to OT, to be fair, on this one. But for me, I'm going to go with Portland.
Who you got, Dan?
So I'm definitely going to go with Portland. The reason why I'm going to go with Portland is because they need to win. They definitely need to win. They need to beat. They need to beat Dallas because I think Dallas is 7th right now. So if you look at the table, you've got the Grizzlies just ahead of the Blazers. So I think they need to win to get over to leapfrog the Grizzlies, Memphis, and take that 8th seed. And so Portland want to get into the playoff. They're a good playoff team. I think they'll be a good playoff team. So I think they're going to beat Dallas, and I think Dallas don't really have much to play for now. I don't think they have much to play for. I mean, obviously they could probably get the 6th or 5th seed, but I think for them, they're just going to sort of, fine tune themselves for the playoffs, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go to the last game. Heat versus the Pacers. I'll start with Dan. Who have you got for that one?
So I'm going to go with the Heat. I think the Heat will beat the Pacers. When I look at what both teams have got to play for, I don't really think that there's much. I mean, there's a game between them. They're basically getting between the 4th seed or 5th seed. So I think the Heat is going to beat them. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Heat will have them.
And Sam?
Yeah, I agree. I don't see anyone other than the Heat in this one. Again, just watching them against the Raptors, actually, we've done well to get out of that, and I was actually really impressed watching them. So I'm sure our resident Chris, once he sees this prediction, will be happy that I've said that. But yeah, don't see this being a difficult game for the Heat, to be honest.
It should be. It's been a really exciting games, actually. I must say, I was a bit dubious at the start. When I heard about the bubble, and then obviously, seeing the fan interaction. Now they've got a lot of celebrities. Lil Wayne yesterday getting involved and putting himself in the virtual seats. So it's actually been really, really good. So far I've been really impressed. So, right, okay. So let's have a look now at the stories of the week, things that have caught your attention, in the world of sports. So Dan, what's caught your attention this weekend?
I think the big thing for me is The Rock buying the XFL for $15 million. I think firstly that's really cheap to buy the league, a league. But I think Rock having a previous football background, I think his desire to his love for football and his star name as the owner or one of the owners for the league would actually just be good. And I think it could potentially be it can only be a good thing. Rivalry and competition breeds success and breeds progression. So I think it's a great thing for the NFL in the future. And I'm looking forward to see how the Rock takes on the XFL and the challenges he faces, really.
Not bad. Is it you bought it from Vince McMahon, I believe, who used to own it.
Yeah.
So not bad. Not bad bit of business. Sam, what's your story?
There's a few that I wanted to go over, but one thing that stood out to me is the amount of players that are now opting out of this season's NFL. It's really sort of concerning a little bit because how many is it going to take before someone to go, season can't start? Looking at the Patriots, they've got 8 players now that have now opted out due to this. That is, and they're some of them are starters. I think Marcus Lee's in there. They brought in to be a starter. So I'm worried that at some point there's going to be that one superstar that says, "No, that's me done," and that starts the chain of events. I'm really, really hoping that is not the case. And as I say, I'm hoping that they can sort that out. But it's something that people do need to keep an eye on because now we're starting to see, sports people aren't all Supermen. They can't stay hiding away from a pandemic, right? So Fingers crossed. But yeah, a few worrying signs. I just hope the teams can look after these players on and off the field. And hopefully we've still got some content to talk about throughout the season.
Yeah, hope there's some games where they can just go ahead and just you could choose the Giants to be the winners. I think everyone would agree. I think it's well deserved already. Great season already that we're having. With the
We finally haven't lost a game.
Yeah, exactly. 100% record at the moment, so it's not too bad. Mine is basically a little PTA, or PT, public social announcement. That's what I'm saying. TCA coach decided to use the N-word to tell his players not to use the N-word. Here's the thing: if you are not black, you cannot use the N-word in any form of way. You cannot tell people to not use the N-word if they're black as well. So I would suggest people, don't you try to find ways to be able to use the N-word. It's not for you. If you're not black, do not use it. Plain and simple. I can't make it any more simple than that. Guys, this weekend, what are you up to?
More sport.
More sport?
More
So,
sport.
Daniel looks like he's ready to the barbecue. So,
well, hopefully barbecue this weekend. But yeah, I think it's just more so NBA. I'm just looking forward to just sports, and we've got the Europa League for United on Monday, so quite excited for. It's going to be a good weekend, really, of sports.
I got a nice trip down to Mercedes World actually, which will be quite good fun. And actually, another virtual screening, kinda, I suppose.
not bad.
So
how
yeah,
the other half lives.
yeah. Actually, little shout out to Heineken for that one and providing that the niceties, as it were. So, always got me going. It is a drive-through, but what they are providing is alcohol-free beer. So don't worry, guys. I will make the next show.
Well, on that note, I'll be on my way down to Daniel's barbecue. I can see something that's simmering in the background, so let's all head there. Heineken, you can send us over the drinks. Thanks, guys. Till next week. Peace.